Hi, we're speaking with Dennis Deyoung via Zoom, the new way to do interviews here on 96.1 Klpx. And Dennis, thank you so much for taking time out of your, well, I guess used to be busy schedule. We're all kind of stuck at home right now.
Well, listen to me. This morning I wake up, my sweatpants storm into the bedroom and demand that I finally wash them. And
I
then, to
feel you.
make matters worse, my wife has insisted upon us observing the 6-foot distancing rule, even in our house when we've been here for 2.5 months, just the two of us. And she said, you have to stay 6 feet away from me, even during sex. And she said, it's never been better. I don't know. Oh my goodness.
Does she make you wear a mask too?
Well, only a certain kind.
I heard you were funny, and this is the first time interviewing you and actually seeing you in person, other than seeing you on the stage. So I'm very happy to be speaking to you. You just had a new album come out on May 22nd, and it's your 6th original solo album. It's called 26 East Volume 1. Why that title?
Back in 1962, I was walking in the South Side neighborhood where I grew up in Chicago, and it was hot. In 62, nobody had air conditioning around here. We didn't live in the desert like you. So we didn't have any air conditioning. And I heard music coming from John and Chuck Panazzo's house. And sure enough, there was the brothers, the twins. They were 2 years younger than me. They were 12. I was 14. So I said, hey, guys, I didn't know you played. Why don't you bring your equipment down to my basement tomorrow? Let's jam a little bit. And they did. And that day, we formed a band, John and Chuck and myself, which would be the nucleus of Styx. We were just kids, Italian kids. I was playing the accordion, Chucky the guitar, John drums, and we were, just trying to make our parents happy. Look at mom and dad, but we can do it. Oh, boy, look at everybody. Look what we can do. Playing the music of our parents' generation because we wanted approval. Didn't you from your parents? Of course you do. That's why you're in front of that microphone.
Absolutely.
So I know. They weren't giving it. One of them wasn't. I know that's why you're doing this, but let's not talk about it. Later, it's $200 an hour, and you have to get on a couch. So anyway, that's how that 26 East was the address of that house where I grew up, in the basement where the band was formed, the nucleus, which stayed together until John's death and until Chuck retired in 1999, coincidentally, the same year that I was replaced in the band. So that's the idea. I thought, well, this is my last album. Where it began, so shall it end. Full circle.
Question. It says Volume 1, though.
That's a mistake. It was an accident of nature. You can see how a virus can really cause havoc. Jim Peterick, my friend, you may know him from Survivor fame. He wrote "Eye of the Tiger" and all those Survivor songs, and he originally wrote a song called "Vehicle" that you've heard a million times. The Ides of March. So he lives 3 blocks from me, which is why I mentioned to him I live in a gated community, because who needs him knocking on my door asking for dough? But anyway, Jim and I have been friends, and we're on the same label. I had one project on Frontiers Records, which was a live DVD CD, Dennis Deyoung, and the music of Styx live in LA. You can go and see it on YouTube. It's free. It's got nearly 1 million views. Me, 1 million views of me playing live. So anyway, the president of that record company, Serafino, asked me to, after that project, asked me to make a new studio album. I said, why would I do that? Rock and roll is dead in the United States of America, and it is, because the most fundamental thing that made rock and roll popular was radio. That job you got there sitting behind that mic. That's when all was right in the world. You heard your music on your radio, and you ran out if you liked it, and you bought stuff because it made you happy. So the only reason to ever do any of this was a chance to hear yourself on the radio. There was never a greater thrill than being in the car, turn on the radio, and maybe hearing one of your songs right next to a Beatles song. It's unbelievable. Because if I hadn't seen the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in 1964, I wouldn't be sitting here. I saw it. You know, we had started the band 2 years earlier, but we were playing rock and roll. And then I saw that. I said, look it, that's a good job. Maybe I'll do that. So from that point on, the Panazzos and I searched out, got guitar players, and tried to transition into rock and roll music. So when it comes right down to it, there's no more radio for rock and roll, especially for old farts like me. I'm 73. Why am I still making records? Shouldn't I be in Miami Beach somewhere? I mean, you know, on the beach complaining about my blood pressure? Probably. So I told Jim, why would I do that? I told him, and he nagged me like a shrew, this Peterick guy. You got to do it. The world needs your music. No more than da. I said, Jim, have the world text me. Because I don't believe it. I think they're happy enough with what I've already given them. Finally, he wore me down. He sent me a song that he begun writing called Run for the Roses. I thought, okay, let's see if we can finish that song. We finished it. We had 8 more. It just went the perfect collaboration, perfect time, came together. Guys with similar backgrounds. I'm older than him by a little bit, much better looking. He'll never see this, will he? Good. No. So there you are. That's how the album came. And I didn't want to make an album. Listen. So we wrote so many songs, to get to your question. Mm-hmm. 19. And I was going to narrow it down to the best 11, 12. So, and then the record company said, we want them all. And I said, well, they said, we'll double your pleasure, double your money. I said, I'm in. What? What did you just say? Double money? Wait a minute. So that's how it happened. And then they said, let's call it Volume 1. And I said, I wanted to call it this one and that one. But they thought that was a bad idea. So it's Volume 1. And then Volume 2 comes out. I don't know. Do you even know what's going to happen tomorrow? How would I know when this segment's? No,
true.
I'm not. When it's dangerous to go to the grocery store, you get trouble.
Absolutely.
Is that the law? The question you ever heard in your life?
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. You mentioned the Beatles, your love of the Beatles, and I noticed on the new record you've got a song with Julian.
I do. Yeah, I have a song with Julian Lennon. I'd written a Beatles tribute song for this, my last album. It was a Beatlemania kind of Beatle tune. And I thought maybe he would sing with me. And then I thought, no, not right for him. So I went to the piano and I wrote To the Good Old Days, which, kids, if you want, go to YouTube and watch the video. Beautiful, beautiful song. I did a demo, wrote it, sent it to him, to his business manager. I didn't know him. I never met him. And I just said it. I sent it, and he said it would be an honor to do it. Now, he hadn't done music in 6 or 7 years. We met in New York City at Brooklyn Sound. He sang his part. I brought it home. I harmonized with him because that's how I always saw the record, as a 2-part harmony, like the great Lennon and McCartney things where they're singing those great voices. And it turned out great. So I'm thrilled that I had the opportunity. And now the video, which has been up for about 2 weeks, because Jules ends up in Europe when the COVID cooties hit. I'm in Chicago. We were supposed to be in it together, but that ain't happening. So I ended up gathering up a bunch of old home movies, Super 8s, VHSs, and old photographs, telling my life story, because this is what the Good Old Days is really kind of all about. And that's how that happened. And now, go to YouTube, watch To the Good Old Days. That, boy, I said it.
Absolutely. We're going to post it on the website too.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the new single, With All Due Respect?
Are you playing it?
Yeah.
Okay, keep playing it, baby. That's why I'm here talking to you. As much as I love you, as much as I just finished the video. Wait till you see it. As soon as I can, I'm going to contact whoever sent this up, Jody.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to send you the video so you can see it. It's pretty cool. It's it's DIY, because my band lives in every state in the United States. So I said, here's this track. Get your cell phone out and photograph you playing it. We'll do it. Put it together. We put it together here in Chicago. It's really, really, it doesn't suck. Not even a little bit. This not even that much suckage. It's really good. And it's funny and angry, which is like the song. Because, should I get on my soapbox here for a second?
Sure.
Kids, I'm 73. What are they going to do to me? Nothing. Too late. You can only hurt me when I'm 25. So the media in this country that propagates the falsehood that they are nonpartisan is going to ruin this country. By which I mean, if you are clearly an op-ed columnist that has a point of view, I'm not talking about those people. That's free speech. They should do that stuff. But today, I think you and I watch TV and wonder, where am I going to get my news from that isn't shaded in one color or another? Mm-hmm. I'm lost. I don't know whether, human beings are always going to have, their ideas about things. But where do you get, like we call straight news, where people do their level best at all times to keep their personal views out of it and try to present the facts? I don't know where that is. And so the media, in attempt to get you to look and me to listen, whether it's radio, print, or cable, and I'm talking mostly about TV and radio in this song, where they have led a campaign in order to get viewers and really sell beer and auto insurance or whatever else they're doing with their advertising dollars. They got to make it into theater. And so the best way to do that, protagonist, antagonist, right? This is how you create theater, drama. You take this side, which is nuts, and that side, which is nuts, and put them together and keep rubbing sticks against them. Those guys are crazy. These girls are crazy. That's not the thing. Ay, with the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. If it bleeds, it leads.
It's destroying the fabric of our society because they're exacerbating our differences. People always have differences, but they are working very hard night and day to exaggerate those differences because people tune in to see the drama. This is detrimental to the fabric of our society and the fabric of who we are as human beings. We're easily led human beings, let's face it. Okay, most people are spending their time trying to survive, providing for their families. They don't have all the time in the world to look at every news thing and try to, what is this guy saying? But the danger is people who present facts that are not in evidence only to sway us to a political point of view. And this is not about those guys or these guys, like I said, in ruby red and royal blue, like I say in the song. It's about, well, who do I watch? They can just stop doing that. And I can go, oh, okay. And allow me the opportunity to think about what's being presented rather than having these morons over here going, hey, and the same. Don't tell me. I can probably say this word. You can edit it later. When I say, how many times you watch the TV and you say, with all due respect, you are an asshole to the commentators. And when you have news 24/7, when you have that constantly being shoved down our throats, they run out of experts. They've run out of experts 20 years ago. So they keep putting these faces, what I call meatballs and Barbie dolls, on the TV. And you're going, and if you haven't got time or the inclination, you can take it, you can accept it as face value, that it's factual. And this is not about, fake news, it's about the inability for us as citizens to be able to discern what's actually happening. And that's what the song is about. But here's the best part, it goes, it's a rocker, baby. And if you want to the statement, it's not political, is it? It's not a political statement. Because I don't favor either side. I blame both sides. Not for the rest of us who sit here and go, what in God's name is going on?
Mm-hmm.
On this war.
And everything like what you're saying, I agree with you. I'm seeing stuff on both sides blaming each other, and then the people in the middle are the ones that get the brunt of it.
Most people, listen, if you went right down the talking points of either side, rigid, okay? These crazies, those crazies, the fanatics, the edge, the rest of us are going, hey, I got to provide for my family today. You know, how is this helping me? It's not helping us. It's dividing us more and more. And what more evidence do you need than what's been going on in the last 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, exactly.
And those like myself who remember 1968 clearly and said from the very beginning when it was happening, I said, this is crazy stuff in 1968. And I still don't think this is quite that, because no one's getting assassinated. Maybe you could say, make the point that citizens are. You know, I think you could have a pretty good argument that some bad things are going on, bad things. But we have to be able to get our news from people who don't have a vested financial interest in pouring gasoline on a fire.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Give me a step off my soapbox.
No, and guess what? I agree with you. I've been telling people for the longest time. I've been telling people for a long time that they're doing that.
Here's what I'm going to tell them right now. I just did my whole soliloquy without pants.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and I appreciate you not standing up.
No, that would be the grand illusion, buddy.
Hey, obviously, you know, we were just alluding to everything going on in the country right now and the COVID pandemic. And I know that this was supposed to be a year that you were on the road, that you were going to be touring. And you're just like, you know, everybody now is in the same boat, stuck in our home, or if we are going to work, there's tons and tons of restrictions. Are there plans or are there talks, or is it kind of like just a wait and see thing for you right now as far as touring is concerned?
Everybody, listen, here's what I would say. People ask me this question. I say, my tour manager and my road manager are now the CDC and the WHO. I refer all referrals go to those people. It doesn't matter how much I want to go on the road. Who's showing up?
True.
That's it. And it'll come back. They'll figure something out. I mean, humans, you know, if they don't kill each other, you know, here's the thing. Finally, we can spend quality time with our loved ones and find out what's really important in life. And it'll be our express duty not to try to poison them. Anyway, so people are locked in house. This is you know, it's not natural for human beings to be locked up like this all the time. But what are you going to do? My tour and my album are so trivial in the scope of things here. When I first started, I've been promoting this now for 6 weeks because the album was put back 6 weeks. I started, right, to start promoting. And so I've been doing things like this. Oh my God, it never stops. But that my album doesn't matter. If it brings you, music brings you comfort, people kept saying to me, Dennis, please go on and do one of these needy celebrity videos from your house, singing a song, you know? And I said, because, you know, they kept saying, we need your music. And I thought, well, I'll take a vaccine if it's my music, or you see what I'm saying? But it brought comfort. Here, I did Best of Times singing into this stupid iPad that's sitting on my piano on a UPS box and a shoebox, so it's the right height to my face. I spent 2.5 years making the best sounding record I could make. I go to YouTube to do this Best of Times. It has 1,100,000 views in a month. I don't get 1,100,000 views. Who am I, Lady Gaga? Lady Gaga. I don't think people went, oh, Dennis, thank. People were so generous with their comments. I would read the sentences, and I had my name in there. I had no idea who they were talking about because they were assigning me, you know, credit that I thought I just played this song that I wrote a long time ago and sang it in my iPad. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me, but I accept it. I'm happy. They're happy. But you know, I think people right now are so desperate for some answers, because as the human race, we've deluded ourselves into believing, because we have to, that we're in control of something. Because what kind of world would this be if we faced the ultimate truth that this thing is spinning through the universe, you know, and we're on it? So I think this cootie has, you know, it's awoken us to the idea of where we fit in on this planet in the universe, and it's unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I can give people some music that makes them feel connected and comforted, I raise my hand and I say, that's my job. I'm happy to have it. And I thank all the fans who have given me this incredible life I have had, because the kid with the accordion wrote some songs and sang them that people liked. That's a miracle.
Well, you know, I was thinking about this the other day when I found out we were going to do this interview. I go, like, the first song when I was 14 years old that I slow danced to a girl from at my freshman high school dance was Babe.
Of course it really was. Was it at the roller rink? Did you go to the roller rink?
Oh, I was at the roller rink. Yes, I was. And we all did that back then, you know. And then I think about Paradise Theater being the album that I consider of my high school years. I hear any song off of that, it brings me back to the early 80s and hanging out at the lake and the river with my friends and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, obviously you had a career in the 70s and a career after that and your solo career. How does it feel when you have so many fans of different ages that have different memories? Like, you wrote the song with a specific purpose in mind, but then you gave it to the world and everybody else has a different response to it, or a different emotional attachment to the song. How does that feel as an artist?
Damn lucky. You kidding me? This is what I do. I wanted to please my mom. She was a tough one. So I played the accordion because she was Italian. So she liked it when I did that. I was chasing this idea of getting people's approval. It was important to me. That's why you're behind that microphone. You're looking for it. You want people to like you, give you a pat on the back. You want your approval. You want love. So we all want that. And I'm doing it, you know, I'm doing it in a big way. I'm doing it with strangers. So, but I find some chords. That's a good one. How about this one? That's a good one. And then I put some notes on the chords. And then I put lyrics on the notes. And I tell you something about myself regarding my own personal life and the world I see around me, hoping that you, the 14-year-old, will find yourself in my song. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And then when you found yourself, yours, not me, but the song, who I wrote that song for has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. But you made it your own because you found yourself there. That's what I do. And it's not more complicated than that. You can dress it up in a grand illusion and wear, you know, satin pants, have your hair long of a mustache, put a bone in your nose, tattoo your body. I don't care what you're doing. Ultimately, it's the song and the connection between human beings. Mm-hmm. Paradise Theater, music is magic. It's the only art that is true magic. Mm-hmm. You're taken to a place immediately, a time, could be happy, could be sad. I find that some songs can actually invoke smells. I can smell the way the summer smelled in my neighborhood, you know, when I hear a certain song. Or if it was in the winter, I can imagine, you know, being inside and having it cold outside. That's pure magic. So I'm lucky that I stumbled on to becoming a musician. Just lucky. I was 14. No, actually I was 7. And so if you go watch To the Good Old Days, the video, you'll see me at 7 years old, all the way up until I'm 73. And you can see my family and pictures of the early band, the Nucleus. Mm-hmm. It's just, you know, I'm looking back now, because when you're 73, you don't look forward. You don't.
I just turned 55, so I'm starting to understand that process.
Yeah, and it won't be better. It's going to go faster. You're 55. You can be 75 before you think you're right. God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yes.
So this is all I've done. And in this culture, people like me are elevated and put on pedestals much higher than we deserve, but it's a good gig. So if you want, the thing is, for me personally, I know how close I came to success and failure. It was a fluke that Lady finally became a hit 2.5 years after it was released. And in music time, 2.5 years back then was like 20 years. But it got resurrected quite by a series of circumstances and became a hit. If it didn't, and it very well could have not, except for one person did it. I wouldn't be talking to you today.
It's amazing how things change. I have tons of friends that are musicians. Some of them have made it, and some of them, majority of them, have not. And the word made it. Some of them aren't super successful like you are, but they're still out there every night playing. Well, not right now, but they were playing the clubs and giving people joy and all that stuff. But,
yeah, it's a two-way street. You give them joy, they give it to you back.
Mm-hmm. You feed off the audience, I would presume.
I don't. No, I'm too wrapped up in not screwing up.
Really?
I'm on this.
Worry about screwing up?
No, I don't. Every night, every note. I don't think about them. They'll react if I get my job right.
Oh, okay.
That's it. I've got to be the best I can be for them. They paid money. True. I'm not thinking about them. I'm thinking about me. Paul McCartney said, "What does it feel like when 10,000 or 50,000?" I said, "Well, I'm worried about the next note. Don't screw it up."
Oh, that makes sense. Absolutely. Because you're in that moment in a different way than they're in that moment.
That's it.
Yep. Well, you got the new album. It's out in stores right now. It's on iTunes. It's all the different platforms. It's called 26 East Volume 1. Hopefully we'll see Volume 2 within the next year or so. And I'm hoping I get a chance to see you perform in concert here in Arizona soon when all this stuff is over.
I know a guy. I'll get you some seats.
All right. Well, I would love to be there because it's been a long time since I've seen you in concert, Dennis. And I sincerely appreciate you taking the time and doing the Zoom call with me.
Tell all your listeners out there in the desert. My manager lives in Phoenix, as a matter of fact. It's hotter there, isn't it, usually?
Usually about 3 or 4 degrees hotter. I'm originally from Phoenix. So, yeah, when I say it's cooler here, it's 109 is no different than 112.
Yeah, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
I've been there when it was 150. That's dry. It's the dry heaves. Never mind.
Yeah.
You know what Phoenix is? Chicago in reverse. In the winter, you run to your car, get it started. And in Phoenix, in the summer, you run to your car and get the air conditioning on. And it's just reverse.
Yeah. In the summer here, you don't see kids in the playground because they don't want to get burned alive.
I know.
So, well, Dennis, real quick, is there a website people can hit up for you if they want to find out more?
Don't go to my website. It's all Facebook now. It's social media. I write everything on my Facebook. No stooges, no bots. When it's written, that's me talking.
Oh, that's great.
I read the comments. I don't comment in the comments because I'm not getting into that business. But I tell you who I am and how I think and what I believe. It's not much different than what we're doing here, only I write it down.
Oh, great.
So if you like here, buy the album, go to my Facebook. If you don't, I wouldn't bother because there's a lot of me both on that album and in that Facebook page.
Well, great. Well, Dennis, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm looking forward to seeing you live in concert when all this stuff is over.